We have the latest from federal court in the Shawn criminal case. Status of jury selection, what Diddy's going to be wearing, violation of a gag order, rejecting a plea offer.
Do you still think that, because there is this public perception, that there are celebrity tapes involved in this case?
No.
Do you still think that there are minors involved in this case?
I'm certain no. This case, we're talking the criminal case.
The criminal case.
In the
correct.
criminal,
I know that.
In the criminal case. In the criminal case,
right.
No.
Imagine facing more than 20 years behind bars, your global empire collapsing, your name dragged through headlines, and then you're offered a deal. Just admit guilt, serve up to 12 years, pay the fines, and maybe, just maybe, walk away with some legacy intact. Most would take it, but not Shawn Diddy Combs. With cameras flashing and the media waiting to pounce, Diddy stood in court and said no. He rejected the plea deal, making it clear he would not admit to trafficking or coercion. His lawyers insist he's innocent, that every encounter was between consenting adults, and that this case is about more than one man.
Back up a little bit, please.
How can you support your father? How do you support him moving forward?
It's about standing up against what they call a government targeting celebrities. This moment wasn't just a legal gamble. It was a public declaration. According to his defense, Diddy isn't just fighting for himself. He's fighting for his family, for other high-profile figures, even, as his team says, for black men wrongfully scrutinized by the system. His lawyers say Diddy believes this trial could be his chance to break the model, to prove that a black mogul can win in federal court, a feat few have pulled off. But the stakes are staggering. The courtroom atmosphere was electric. As the judge confirmed Diddy's rejection of the plea, the mogul showed no emotion, calmly sipping water as U.S. Marshals led him out. Behind him, his legal team vowed a fierce battle, preparing to challenge every piece of evidence. Yet looming over all this was one looming question. Why reject a deal that could save you from life-altering consequences? For Diddy, the answer seems as much about pride and principle as it is about innocence. If Diddy's rejection of the plea deal shocked the public, what came next left jaws on the floor.
Why? Because he believes he's innocent. He believes he's innocent, and what's more, he believes that he needs to stand up, not just for himself, for his family, and for everybody who's been targeted by the federal government.
Reports emerged that his own son, Christian Combs, known in the music world as King Combs, was quietly working with federal prosecutors. Behind closed doors, just days before the trial, Christian met twice with investigators, accompanied by his own legal team. Prosecutors believe Christian holds a treasure trove of insider knowledge, private jet itineraries, exclusive guest lists, and details of hush money transactions tied to Diddy's notorious parties in the Hamptons and Miami. Suddenly, the case wasn't just about a celebrity under fire. It was about a son potentially testifying against his father. For prosecutors, Christian is a potential game changer. Former federal attorneys say family witnesses carry enormous weight with juries, especially in conspiracy cases. Christian's testimony could weave together the paper trails, financial records, and encrypted messages seized from Diddy's devices during dramatic Homeland Security raids. It's a stunning twist. A son, once seen partying alongside his father, now positioned as a possible key to the government's case. But the betrayal cuts deeper than just court strategy. The optics are brutal, a generational fracture playing out in real time. Christian has stayed quiet publicly, focusing on promoting his music. But sources close to the family say the March raids rattled him deeply. Prosecutors claim Christian helped organize luxury charter flights, VIP events, and even late-night yacht parties. Operations they now allege were fronts for illegal activity. Whether Christian is cooperating to shield himself from legal fallout or out of a sense of duty, one thing is clear. His involvement has the power to turn this trial into one of the most explosive celebrity cases in decades. The moment federal agents stormed Diddy's LA and Miami mansions, everything shifted. It wasn't just a symbolic blow, it was a full-on tactical strike. Homeland Security didn't just knock on the door, they raided with purpose, armed with warrants, battering into the heart of Diddy's empire. Phones were seized, laptops scooped up, And most crucially, financial records. The kind that don't just expose transactions, but the lifestyles behind them. Among the most explosive finds, encrypted app messages allegedly showing Christian himself coordinating high-profile travel. Luxury charter flights ferrying celebrity guests to all-white parties in the Hamptons, yacht bashes in Biscayne Bay, and private events that now sit at the center of the government's case. Investigators claim these weren't just extravagant gatherings. They were key hubs in a sprawling operation designed to move people, money, and influence across state and international lines. Forensic analysts combed through 14 different devices seized in the raids, zeroing in on father-son conversations, payment instructions, guest arrangements, and security protocols.
The last hearing before Shawn Combs' trial starts, when he walked into federal court today, he appeared to be looking for his family. They've pretty much been at all of the hearings that I've been to, but there was no presence of his sons or his mother or his sister.
What made you come here to support Puff?
I'm supporting Puff because he's innocent, and I'm wholeheartedly believing his innocence, and I know he's innocent.
Prosecutors believe the data lays out a blueprint, one that can tie Diddy's entertainment empire directly to the alleged criminal network they're building their case around. But Diddy's defense calls it all a distortion, insisting the seized records show nothing more than normal industry dealings: VIP travel, event coordination, and celebrity hospitality. Still, insiders say the raids marked the moment things got real. Industry veterans whispered that Christian's sudden cooperation may have been triggered not by pressure alone, but by the sheer volume of evidence piling up. As the trial looms, the question isn't just what the agents found. It's what's still buried in those devices, waiting to explode in court. Behind the headlines, the Diddy scandal has torn through the Combs family like a hurricane. Christian's reported cooperation with prosecutors didn't just stun the public. It shook the foundation of one of hip-hop's most famous dynasties. While Christian has kept his public image polished, focusing on his music career and staying active on social media, sources say tensions inside the family are boiling over. Justin Combs and Quincy Brown, Diddy's other sons, have reportedly been approached by investigators, though neither has formally agreed to cooperate. Still, the mere fact that federal agents are circling the entire Combs circle has created a chilling atmosphere. Longtime friends and industry insiders are split. Some sympathize with Christian, saying he's trapped between loyalty to his father and the enormous pressure of federal prosecutors. Others argue he has a moral obligation to speak out if he witnessed wrongdoing, that the culture can't demand accountability and then shame the first family member who steps forward. And then there's the broader hip-hop community, where reactions are just as divided. Some see Christian as a young man caught in an impossible situation, a pawn in a high-stakes legal chess match. Others view him as a traitor, cracking the family code of silence in exchange for immunity. Legal experts point out that in conspiracy cases, family testimony can make or break a trial. Relatives don't just confirm facts, they reveal motive, emotions, and intent. Meanwhile, Diddy's legal team is painting Christian's potential testimony as unreliable, arguing he wasn't involved in high-level decisions and didn't have access to the full picture. But the emotional toll is undeniable. From the outside, the Combs brand has always looked untouchable. Luxury, success, power. Now, behind closed doors, that image is crumbling under the weight of a family divided, a rift that could redefine both their personal legacies and the outcome of this trial. If the raids rattled Diddy's world, the financial revelations detonated it. Prosecutors allege that between 2016 and 2023, at least $74 million flowed through a complex network of 17 shell companies, entities registered everywhere from Delaware to the British Virgin Islands. To the government, these weren't just clever tax strategies. They were the backbone of an operation designed to move massive sums quietly, funding everything from private Gulfstream flights to lavish Hamptons rentals and off-the-books security teams. The paper trail is staggering. Forensic accountants brought in by the feds say they uncovered five-figure cash withdrawals made just hours before invite-only parties. Events prosecutors label high-risk gatherings at the core of their case. Even more explosive, court filings suggest Christian Combs' name appears on key documents: invoices for yacht rentals, catering expenses, and luxury charters. That puts him squarely in the money flow, raising the stakes of his cooperation and adding fuel to an already volatile legal fire. The defense, however, is hitting back hard. Lead attorney Aaron Sussman has framed the entire financial narrative as government overreach, arguing that what prosecutors call criminal financing is just the cost of running a global entertainment empire. According to the defense, Diddy's businesses, from Bad Boy Entertainment to his liquor brands, naturally operate at a scale few understand, making them an easy target for sensationalist headlines. But it's not just the government paying attention. Corporate partners are scrambling. Liquor giant Diageo has already severed ties, while streaming platforms and sponsors quietly review their contracts, nervous about being swept into the fallout. And then there's the chilling impact on charity. Prosecutors allege some of Diddy's headline-grabbing donations, like a $450,000 gift to Howard University, were followed by matching personal withdrawals, a pattern they claim points to circular financing. If proven, it doesn't just tarnish a public image, it shatters it. The stakes in Diddy's trial aren't just legal, they're existential. At 54, Shawn "Diddy" Combs stands on the edge of losing everything he spent 3 decades building. If convicted on all counts, he faces over 20 years behind bars, potentially dying in prison while his music empire crumbles. But the trial's ripple effects stretch far beyond the courtroom. Streaming numbers for the Bad Boy catalog have already surged as fans nostalgically revisit the soundtrack of an era, yet behind the scenes, Diddy's corporate world is on life support. Liquor deals are paused. A major hospitality launch in Miami has been shelved, and art auctions are frozen as partners wait to see whether assets will be seized. The government's witness list is packed with bombshells. 3 former aviation staffers, including a mechanic who claims flight logs were cleaned before audits. Digital forensic analysts who say encrypted chats reveal pre-arranged guest pairings, and even security personnel ready to testify about off-site apartments used after parties. And then there's the elephant in the room, the potential testimony of Christian Combs. For the prosecution, putting a family member on the stand early is a power move, a way to lock in the narrative before the defense can muddy the waters. But Diddy's team is preparing for war. They plan to challenge Christian's motives, paint him as a scared young man pressured into cooperation, and bring in experts like sociologist Katrina Bell to argue that confidentiality agreements are standard in VIP circles, not evidence of crime. Culturally, this trial could become a landmark moment. It's a clash between celebrity, power, and accountability, with activists warning that the emotional weight of a son testifying against his father carries heavy implications for Black families and Black-owned empires. As the jury is seated and opening arguments loom, the tension is palpable. The outcome won't just decide Diddy's fate, it may redefine the boundaries of celebrity justice in America. Beyond the courtroom drama, the Diddy trial has sparked a cultural reckoning. This isn't just another celebrity scandal. It's a collision of fame, wealth, and justice that's forcing the entertainment industry, the Black community, and the public at large to grapple with uncomfortable questions. Across social media, Black Twitter has erupted into debate. Hashtags like #ProtectKingCombs and #BlackWallOfSilence are trending, exposing a generational clash. Some view Christian's cooperation as an act of betrayal, tearing apart a Black-owned empire that defied the odds. Others argue that accountability is long overdue and that loyalty should never shield wrongdoing, no matter how legendary the figure. Even Capitol Hill is paying attention. Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley has called on the Department of Justice to release anonymized data on how celebrity trafficking cases are prosecuted, worried that the spectacle of high-profile trials might distract from the need for broader criminal justice reform. Inside the music industry, executives are scrambling. Brands like Revolt TV and Warner Music Group are conducting internal audits, terrified of being caught in the crossfire. And former collaborators like Mary J. Blige and Usher have gone silent, reportedly dodging defense subpoenas as their names surface in court documents. Meanwhile, cultural commentators are raising alarms about the deep distrust many Black Americans feel toward the legal system. Historian Michael Harriot bluntly called the government's approach another Tuskegee, tapping into long-held suspicions about selective prosecution and systemic bias. For some, the Fed's pursuit of Diddy feels like a crackdown not just on a man, but on Black success. For others, it's a moment of reckoning that cuts across fame, race, and money. As the first witnesses prepare to take the stand, the world is watching not just to see if Diddy will fall, but to understand what his fall will mean. Will this be remembered as justice served, or as a cautionary tale of how power, unchecked, ultimately consumes itself? One thing is certain: the Diddy trial is no longer just about one man. It's about the future of celebrity accountability. With jury selection wrapping up and the trial set to launch in just days, all eyes are locked on what could become one of the most explosive legal battles in entertainment history. The judge has moved swiftly, vetting jurors through 24-page questionnaires, probing their familiarity with their opinions on conspiracy charges, and their connections to any of the 162 potential witnesses. The defense and prosecution are racing to finalize their strategies, with the government hinting it may call Christian Combs to the stand right out of the gate. A bombshell move that could tilt the momentum early. If Christian testifies, the impact will be seismic. His insider knowledge of flight logs, payment receipts, and encrypted chats could help prosecutors fast-track their case, weaving together the ledgers, testimony, and digital evidence into a damning narrative. But Diddy's lawyers are ready to attack, arguing that Christian's cooperation is driven by self-preservation, not truth. They plan to challenge his credibility, call expert witnesses to normalize VIP party culture, and frame the government's case as a witch hunt against a wealthy black entrepreneur. Beyond the legal theater, the fallout is already reshaping Diddy's empire. Employees at his businesses have been warned about potential furloughs if the trial drags on. Luxury liquor partners, fashion brands, and streaming platforms are reevaluating deals. And even Howard University is monitoring the situation regarding Diddy's past donations. Meanwhile, on the cultural front, the case has ignited fierce debates over loyalty, justice, and the heavy price of fame. As opening statements loom, the central question is no longer just whether Diddy will walk free. It's whether his once untouchable brand can survive the storm. Will this trial mark the fall of a music titan, or the defiant triumph of a man determined to clear his name? The countdown is on. The media frenzy is building, and the world is watching as the curtain rises on a trial that promises to test the limits of power, loyalty, and accountability in the celebrity age.